I've never been one for grand gestures. No skywriting, no love songs, no rose petals on the bed. That's just not who I am. I'm a steady man. Show up, do the work, keep my promises. Carla used to say that was what she loved about me. Mike may not be flashy, she'd tell her sister, but he's always there. That was enough for a long time. Or at least, I thought it was. We've been married 27 years. Some of them good, some of them hard, most of them just regular. We didn't fight much, but we didn't talk much either, not toward the end. She'd go to bed early with her laptop, always working on the blog. I'd fall asleep in the recliner watching old ball games. It wasn't unhappy, just quiet. The kind of quiet that sneaks up on you. But I still loved her. Even if we didn't laugh like we used to. Even if I couldn't remember the last time we touched just to be close. I still looked at her and saw my wife. I thought maybe she just needed something to light her up again. Carla used to talk about Barcelona all the time, the food, the markets, those colorful buildings by that Spanish architect. What's his name? Gaudi. She used to say she wanted to sit at a little street cafe with a glass of red wine and just watch the world pass by. She talked about it back when we were broke, barely scraping by in that tiny rental with the leaky roof. One day, she'd say, "I'll get there one day." I remembered. So when her birthday rolled around this year, I decided to make it happen. I dipped into my savings, used every airline mile I'd stashed away, even cashed in an old CD. Booked her a 5-night stay in the heart of Barcelona, at a hotel that looked like something out of a magazine. Threw in a river dinner cruise and a gaudy walking tour. I thought maybe it'd remind her of what made her feel alive. And maybe, just maybe, remind her that she had a husband who still gave a damn. I didn't tell her ahead of time. Wanted it to be a surprise. She liked surprises, once upon a time. On her birthday morning, I got up early and made her coffee just how she likes it. Splash of cream, 2 sugars, and that cinnamon sprinkle she always forgets she taught me. I slid the envelope across the table. She blinked at it, still groggy. "What's this?" "Open it," I said, trying not to grin. She pulled out the printed itinerary. Her eyes scanned the header, flights, hotel confirmation, cruise ticket. I watched her face as it hit her. "Mike, what is this?" "It's Barcelona," I said. "You're going. 5 nights. You leave in 2 weeks." She just stared at me, her mouth slightly open. "Happy birthday, Carla." For a second, she didn't say anything. Then her hand went to her mouth and she shook her head, laughing through her breath. "You're kidding." "Nope." Her eyes actually welled up. She leaned over and kissed my cheek, something she hadn't done in a long time. "Mike, you didn't have to do this." "I wanted to," I said. "You've been dreaming about this forever." She laughed and sniffled at the same time. "But I don't even have a passport." "You do," I said. "I helped you file for one 6 months ago. Remember when you said it was just in case your blog took off?" She sat back and looked at the papers again like she didn't quite believe them. That moment, her smile, the way she lit up, it made everything worth it. I thought I'd done something right. She started buzzing after that, talking about packing, what outfits she'd bring, if she could lose a few pounds before the trip. Said she'd need new walking shoes, maybe a better camera. She hadn't sounded that excited about anything in years. I figured I'd done a good thing. I figured maybe this would bring us back together somehow. What I didn't figure was that I just paid for the trip that would end my marriage. The days leading up to Carla's trip were a blur, at least for her. She was on a mission. Packing, ordering things online, reading blog posts about what to wear in Europe. The front porch turned into a landing strip for delivery boxes. Shoes, new luggage, a neck pillow that cost more than my toolbox. She kept saying how nervous she was, how she hadn't flown alone in years. But I don't think I'd ever seen her more alive. She'd show me dresses she bought, hold them up in front of the mirror, ask if they were too flashy. "You're gonna look like a movie star," I'd say. And she'd smile, not at me exactly, more like past me. I told myself it was nerves. Excitement. Big trip jitters. Who wouldn't be keyed up? Still, something felt off. Not loud, not obvious. Just a shift. She was happier. Yeah, but not with me. Not around me. It was like she'd already left the house, like her head and heart were already across the ocean, sipping wine and strolling through markets. And somehow, I wasn't part of that picture. I tried to joke about it once, asked if I should tag along as her personal photographer. She laughed, light and quick. "You'd hate it," she said. "All that walking, all those crowds. You'd be miserable." She wasn't wrong. But that wasn't the point. Still, I let it go. Because I trusted her. Because that's what you do after nearly 3 decades together. You give your person the benefit of the doubt, even when something tugs at your gut. The night before her flight, she was like a whirlwind. Double-checking her passport, printing boarding passes, charging her phone and her Kindle, and that new camera she insisted on having. "I can drive you in the morning," I offered. "No need," she said quickly. "Laura's taking me." That made me pause. "Laura from the blog group?" "Yeah," she offered. "She lives closer to the airport anyway." I nodded slowly. Laura was a name I'd heard a lot lately. Blog partner. They'd never met in person until last month when Carla went to some weekend conference in Cleveland. She came back talking about how they clicked, how Laura just gets me. I didn't think much of it at the time. Figured she finally found a friend who shared her interests. Looking back now, I should have asked more questions. That night, she barely slept. Tossed and turned, got up twice to check her bags, then again to tweak something on her blog. I stayed in bed and listened to her footsteps move through the house. She was buzzing, almost giddy. At 6:45 a.m., she came down dressed like someone headed to a magazine shoot. Tan trench coat, new boots, lipstick done just right. She wasn't dressed for travel. She was dressed for arrival. "You look good," I said. She gave me a distracted smile. "Thanks." We stood there a second, awkward in our own kitchen. Then she leaned in, kissed my cheek, and said, "Don't forget to water the fern." That was it. No tearful goodbye. No, "I'll miss you." Just a plant reminder in the back of her coat as she walked out the door with her rolling suitcase behind her. I stood at the window and watched her get into a silver SUV I didn't recognize. Laura's, I assumed. They didn't wave. I stayed at the window until they turned the corner. That day, the house was so quiet it felt staged, like a model home, clean and empty. Her coffee mug still sat in the dish rack. Her spot on the couch had the throw pillow fluffed just the way she liked it. I walked through the rooms like a stranger. She sent a photo when she landed, the terminal at the Barcelona airport. Nothing special. "Made it. Long flight. Gonna nap and then explore a bit." I replied, "Glad you're safe. Have fun." She didn't answer. Later that night, she posted a picture on her blog, a glass of red wine on a balcony, the city lit up in the distance. No caption. No sign of her in the photo. I stared at that image longer than I should have, and I couldn't shake the feeling that she wasn't alone. The first 2 days, I tried not to overthink it. She texted here and there, brief updates, nothing deep. Saw the Sagrada Familia today. Incredible. Or, this tapas place was amazing. You'd hate the crowds. Always that kind of message, surface level, like she was writing a postcard to a casual acquaintance. She didn't ask about me. Not once. Not about work, the house, the dog. It was like I'd disappeared, and she hadn't noticed. I told myself to be understanding. She was finally doing something for herself. Maybe it was good for her to get away. Maybe she just needed a break to miss me. But deep down, it didn't feel like missing. It felt like leaving. By the third day, she'd stopped texting completely. She still posted to her blog little travel blurbs, curated photos, lots of artsy angles and moody lighting. But not one of them had her face in it. No smiling in front of landmarks. No video calls. No voice messages. Just images of wine glasses and alleyways and the kind of pastries she used to say were too sweet. I tried calling once, around dinner time. It rang twice, then went a voicemail. I didn't try again. Instead, I sat at the kitchen table with my dinner, microwaved meatloaf, and some mashed potatoes from a packet, and stared at the empty chair across from me. That chair hadn't looked empty before, just occupied by silence. Now, it looked vacant. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept circling back to little things. The way she started wearing perfume again, months before the trip. The way she stopped laughing at my jokes. How she kept flipping her phone over whenever I walked in the room. It was like the signs had been there, all along. I just didn't want to read them. The next morning, I checked the Find My app on my phone. We'd set it up years ago for emergencies. She'd forgotten to disable it. Her little blue dot hovered over a boutique hotel in the Gothic Quarter. I searched the name, pulled up their website. Looked nice. Cozy. Intimate. Nothing fancy, just expensive enough to feel exclusive. I clicked through the photos. Every room was shown with a king bed. Every description included phrases like perfect for couples and romantic hideaway. I shut the laptop. I didn't want to be that guy. The one pacing the living room, imagining worst-case scenarios. The one checking his wife's location like a jealous teenager. But I couldn't shake it. I tried to keep busy. Mowed the lawn, cleaned the gutters, even polished the truck. But my mind kept going back to that hotel. That damn blue dot. I told myself I was being paranoid. Until Thursday afternoon, when the bank called. A woman named Cynthia from the fraud department left a message. Said she needed to verify some unusual charges on our joint credit card. My stomach tightened as I hit redial. She read them off to me. 2 high-end restaurants in Barcelona, a boutique jewelry store, and a flamenco show that charged over €300 for VIP seats. Were these authorized? She asked. Yes, I said slowly. My wife's traveling. Just wanted to confirm, she said cheerfully. One last thing. We received a request yesterday to add a secondary cardholder to the account. It came from a Spanish IP address, so it was flagged. I felt my jaw clench. Did they give a name? Yes, she said. A Mr. Adrian Vallejo. That name didn't mean anything to me. Not yet. But the fact that she tried to add someone to our joint account while she was overseas, that meant everything. Decline it, I said. And freeze the card. Of course, Mr. Harrison. I hung up and just sat there, phone in my hand, the hum of the fridge suddenly deafening. There was no more pretending. Something was happening over there. And it wasn't just a vacation. After the call with the bank, I didn't move for a long time. I just sat at the kitchen table, staring at the wood grain, trying to understand how I got here. I wasn't sad. Not yet. Not angry either. Just hollow, like someone had scooped out the middle of my chest and left the edges to echo. I opened my laptop again. Searched Adrian Vallejo. It didn't take long. He was all over social media. Photographer. Lifestyle influencer, whatever that means. Tanned, bearded, always dressed like he was late to a rooftop party. Lots of travel shots, wine tastings, artsy black and white portraits of European alleys. And there, in the middle of it all, a photo that stopped me cold. It was taken 3 days ago, same balcony Carla posted from. Same wine glass. Same angle. Only this time, he was in the frame. Back turned, looking out over the city. Just a silhouette. But unmistakable. I clicked through more of his posts, and slowly, a timeline built itself. He'd been in Paris 2 weeks ago, then Madrid, then Barcelona, same days Carla was there. Same neighborhoods. Same spots. They weren't just crossing paths. They were traveling together. It was right there, out in the open. If you knew what to look for. I checked her blog again. No mentions. No tags. Just poetic lines about finding peace, rediscovering joy, letting go of what no longer serves you. I sat back and let that sink in. I'd paid for that peace. Funded her joy. She was letting go of me. I walked outside, needing air. The sky was clear, the yard still. I looked at the garden I built with my own hands, the porch I repainted last summer, the wind chimes she picked out at that craft fair in Michigan. All of it, ours. Now it felt like a museum of a marriage that no longer existed. I stayed out there a while, until the sun dipped low. When I came back in, I poured a drink, something I rarely did, and sat in the recliner. Stared at the blank TV screen like it might offer answers. But there were none. Just more silence. That night, I didn't sleep much. I kept replaying every conversation we'd had the last few months. Her distant smiles, the way she'd pull her phone closer when I walked in the room, how she suddenly started locking the bathroom door when she changed. The signs were all there. I just didn't want to see them. The next morning, I made coffee like always. Same mug. Same spoon. Same 2 sugars, only no one to drink it but me. Her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. She'd left it logged into our shared email account. Out of habit, I glanced at the screen. A hotel confirmation email had just come in. Room for 2. For nights. In Granada. She was extending her trip. She hadn't mentioned that. I clicked the email. Reservation name, Carla Harrison and Adrian Vallejo. There it was. No denying it. No interpretation needed. It was no longer a suspicion. It was a fact. I stood there, still holding her untouched coffee, and felt something in me go still. Not broken, just done. The shock was over. Now it was clarity. I dumped the coffee, rinsed the mug, and set it back in the rack. Then I went into the office, opened the drawer where we kept all the important stuff, insurance, retirement statements, house deeds. I started a new folder. Labeled it in black marker, separation. The truth had finally stepped into the light. And I wasn't about to stand in the dark anymore. Once I had her name and his on the reservation, in print, in bold, everything changed. No more guessing. No more denial. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I just got to work. The first thing I did was call Martin. He's been my lawyer since the early 2000s, helped me with a land dispute, walked me through a refinance, handled some paperwork when my dad passed. He's calm, sharp, and most importantly, quiet. He picked up on the second ring. "Mike," he said, voice low and familiar. "How bad is it?" "Bad enough," I said. "I need to know my options." He didn't waste time. Asked the right questions. What accounts were joint? Whose name was on the deed? Did we have a prenup? We didn't. Who did in the 90s? Kids were grown, thank God. No custody issues to sort through. "Do you want to file now?" he asked. "Not yet," I said, "but I want everything lined up." Quietly. "I don't want her coming home to a fight. I want her coming home to a decision." He paused, then said, "I can help you with that." That afternoon, I drove to the bank. Spoke with a manager I'd known for years, guy named Dennis. Told him I needed to separate my checking and savings. Told him to freeze the shared credit card. Didn't say why. He didn't ask. Next, I logged into every account we had, utilities, mortgage, retirement, subscriptions. Changed every password. Transferred what I could into a new personal account under just my name. Took screenshots of balances. Downloaded statements. Labeled every file. Made copies of the will, the house deed, the car titles. I moved like a man in a fire drill. Fast, focused, clear. By dinner, I had a folder 3 inches thick and a digital backup on a thumb drive I tucked in my sock drawer. Then I did something harder. I started boxing things up. Photos first, all the framed ones from vacations, Christmases, that cruise we took back in '06 when we still held hands in public. I didn't burn them. Didn't shred them. Just packed them neatly, sealed the box, and labeled it Carlos. Then I cleared out her side of the closet. Left the hangers. Took nothing that wasn't mine. I wanted her to see exactly what she left behind, not in anger, but in absence. The next morning, I made a list of everything she'd need to sign. Martin had emailed me a draft of the separation agreement. Fair, firm, no loopholes. I printed it, clipped it, and slid it into a fresh folder. Then I sat down and wrote her a letter. I kept it short. "Carla, I know about Adrian. I saw the reservation. I saw the charges. I saw the truth. I won't ask you to explain it. I won't give you a stage to rewrite what happened. You made your decision in Spain. I'm making mine in Illinois. The accounts are divided. The house is staying with me. The documents are ready. All I need is your signature. Take your time if you need it. But don't expect to come back to the man who booked you that flight. That man is gone. Mike." I folded the letter, placed it on the kitchen counter under her ceramic spoon rest, the one shaped like a sunflower. Figured she'd see it the moment she dropped her keys. Then I sat back and waited. Not with anxiety. Not with fear. Just stillness. Because for the first time in months, maybe years, I wasn't trying to hold something broken together. I was letting it go. By the end of that week, the house felt different. Not empty, cleared. There was a calm to it, a space I hadn't noticed in years. The fridge wasn't cluttered with sticky notes about almond milk or reminders to schedule the gutter cleaning. The bathroom counter was free of makeup bags and half-used bottles of toner. For the first time in a long while, I could actually see the tile pattern Carla always complained about. I took long walks after dinner. Just me and the pavement, stretching the silence out until it felt like peace instead of absence. The dog, Bear, our old retriever, followed me around more than usual. He could tell something had shifted. Animals always know before we do. Carla still hadn't called. Not once. Not a text. Not even a message asking about the credit card. She was either too ashamed or too far gone to care. But the world around me? It noticed. People started to ask questions. At the hardware store, the cashier, younger guy, maybe 30, asked if my wife liked the new planner I picked up. I just said, haven't shown her yet. Left it at that. Church folks were gentler. The pastor gave me a handshake that lasted 2 seconds too long. Mrs. Kinney, who sat 3 pews over every Sunday since 2003, brought me a casserole and said, "You've looked tired lately. Thought you could use a warm meal." Word gets around in small towns. I knew it was only a matter of time before someone found her blog. The one full of poetic entries about rebirth and healing and unexpected companionship. No names, but enough breadcrumbs to follow. On Sunday, after service, Laura called. I stared at the screen a long time before I picked up. "Mike," she said, voice thin and nervous. I didn't know if I should call. "You already did," I said, keeping my voice level. She hesitated. I didn't know about any of it. I swear. I thought she was just traveling to clear her head. That's what she told me. I let the silence hang. She never said she was meeting someone, Laura added quickly. If I'd known. You didn't, I said. So let's leave it there. She was quiet for a beat. Then, softly, I'm sorry. You didn't deserve this. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. Thanks. After we hung up, I sat in the living room with a glass of water and looked around. Everything in the house had her fingerprint on it, not literally, but in the paint colors, the throw pillows, the chipped mug with the faded good morning, sunshine print. But somehow, I didn't feel surrounded by her. I felt surrounded by proof. Proof that I had built a life someone else thought they could step out of without consequence. I got an email that evening from Martin. All filings are in place. Let me know the moment she returns. We'll serve the papers immediately. No surprises. That's what I wanted. No screaming match. No dramatic confrontation. Just a truth she couldn't escape and a door that wouldn't reopen. The last piece I had to take care of was the safe. We kept one in the basement, small, fireproof, mostly for sentimental things. I hadn't opened it in months. Inside were old cards, birth certificates, a few keepsakes from our kids' early years, and a tiny blue velvet box I'd almost forgotten. It held the earrings I gave her on our 20th anniversary. I remember saving up for months. She had mentioned them once in a catalog pearl with little gold inlays, nothing flashy, but she loved them. I gave them to her at dinner that year, and she cried. Said she'd never felt more seen. I stared at that box for a while, then closed it gently. Not out of sadness. Out of respect for the man I used to be, for the love I tried to give, for the quiet certainty that I had done my part. The rest? That was on her. She landed 2 days later. I knew because I checked the flight tracker, not because she told me. Her plane touched down just before 9 a.m. I could have gone to pick her up, but I didn't. That wasn't my job anymore. I spent the morning cleaning. Not out of stress, just routine. Wiped down the counters, straightened the cushions, vacuumed the hallway. It helped me think. Kept my hands moving while my mind stayed sharp. The house was quiet. Bear lay by the front door, head on his paws, not moving much. He hadn't barked once that morning. Just waited. At 10:12, I heard the car pull into the driveway. I didn't get up. She came through the door 5 minutes later, wheeling a new suitcase, wearing a long tin coat and oversized sunglasses like she'd walked off a movie set. Her hair was different. Straighter. Sharper. Her smile flickered when she saw me sitting at the kitchen table. Hey, she said, setting her bag down. I'm back. I nodded. I see that. She glanced around the house like she was trying to measure the temperature. You didn't text. No, I said. Didn't think you'd be checking. That landed harder than she expected. Her smile faded. I was busy, she said. So I figured. She stepped further in, but I didn't move to greet her. I just watched. How was it? I asked. My voice was flat. Not curious, just giving her space to lie. She paused, then said, It was beautiful. Different. Made me think about things. I tilted my head. Things like Adrian? Her breath caught. I didn't look away. Didn't blink. She set her purse down. Slowly. Mike, it's not what you think. No. I leaned back in the chair. Then tell me. Because I've got a hotel reservation that says otherwise. Joint name. Shared room. Paid with our money. She closed her eyes for half a second. It wasn't supposed to be that. It just happened. I was confused. No, I said. You were careful. You changed hotels. You upgraded the room. You added him to the account. That's not confusion. That's planning. Her jaw tensed. I needed to feel something again. Something real. I shook my head. So you took what we built and burned it down for a man who wouldn't even stick around long enough to see the ashes. Tears welled up in her eyes. She looked like she wanted to say more, but nothing came out. I found everything, I said. The charges, the photos, the name. I even saw your little blog entries. The ones about finding your joy again. Mike. No. Don't. Don't say you didn't mean to hurt me. You just didn't care if you did. She covered her mouth like that would keep the guilt in. But it was too late. I'd seen it all. I left something for you, I said, nodding toward the counter. Letters under the spoon rest. She walked over, hands trembling. Pulled the paper out slowly. Read it. Didn't say a word. When she finished, she looked at me, really looked. For the first time in months. I thought you'd fight, she whispered. I thought you'd yell. Try to fix it. That's the problem, I said. You thought I'd stay no matter what. You thought I'd be the man who always shows up. And you're not. Not anymore. She stepped forward, like she might cross the room. Mike. I made a mistake. No, I said. You made a choice. And now I'm making mine. Her eyes filled, but I didn't move. Didn't reach for her. Didn't soften. I talked to Martin, I added. The lawyer. The paperwork's ready. You don't have to say a word. Just sign. She looked around the house again, like she was seeing it for the last time. Like everything she thought she could come back to had been turned into stone. Where do I go? She asked, voice small. That's not my concern. She stood there a moment longer, then picked up her bag, walked down the hall without another word. I heard the bedroom door open, then close. And just like that, it was done. Not loud, not dramatic, just finished. She stayed in the guest room that night. Didn't come out for dinner. Didn't try to talk again. I heard the door open once around midnight, maybe to get water. Then it shut, soft and slow, like she didn't want the house to know she was still in it. I slept through the night. For the first time in what felt like years. When I woke up, the air felt lighter. I made coffee, fed Bear, opened the windows and let the breeze roll through. There was no tension in the walls. No pretending. Just quiet, the honest kind. By 10 a.m., she emerged. Hair tied back. No makeup. Holding a manila envelope. She laid it on the kitchen counter and stepped back. I signed, she said. Voice calm. Empty. I nodded. I'll take it to Martin. She lingered a moment, looking at the chair across from me like she wanted to sit, say something. Maybe beg. Maybe explain. But she didn't. Where will you go? I asked. She shrugged. I booked a place in town for a while. One of those furnished rentals. Laura said she'd help. Good. She gave me a long look. You're really not going to ask why? I don't need to, I said. Whatever story you tell yourself, it won't change what you did. She swallowed. It wasn't about him. Not really. Doesn't matter. I thought maybe if I left, you'd chase me. Try to stop me. That made me laugh, not out of humor, but disbelief. You thought betrayal would get you more attention? I thought you still loved me. I did, I said. But you didn't love me back. Not the way you were supposed to. Not enough to stay loyal. She looked like she wanted to cry again, but she held it in. I was lost, she said. Then go find yourself, I replied. But don't expect me to be here when you do. She nodded once, slowly, then turned toward the door. Bear lifted his head, watched her pass, then laid back down without moving. She paused in the doorway, fingers brushing the frame. I don't expect forgiveness. You shouldn't, I said. Then she left. No suitcase this time. Just a purse and a folded coat in her arms. Like someone walking away from a fire that already burned too long. I waited 10 minutes. Then I picked up the envelope, slipped on my jacket, and drove to Martin's office. He didn't say much when I handed it over. Just looked at the signature, double-checked the pages, and said, it's official. That was it. 28 years. Over in a manila envelope in 2 signatures. I should have felt something. Grief. Anger. Relief. Instead, I just felt free. Like I'd been underwater so long I forgot what breathing felt like. That afternoon, I went home and changed the locks. Called the utilities, updated the names. Canceled our joint streaming accounts. Took down the calendar she used to hang by the fridge, the one with her handwriting marking every holiday and appointment. I replaced it with a blank one. Clean slate. I pulled out a set of tools from the shed and fixed the creaky step on the porch. Recaulked the bathroom sink. Put oil in the truck. And when evening came, I grilled a steak. Just one. Poured a glass of good bourbon, sat on the back deck with Bear, and listened to the quiet. No more wondering where she was. No more waiting for a message that would never come. No more bargaining with myself about what kind of love I deserved. It was over. And in the stillness of that evening, as the sky turned gold and the air smelled like smoke and fresh-cut grass, I realized something. She didn't just walk out of this marriage. She walked out of the only place that ever truly held her. And now that door was closed. Permanently. A week after she left, Carla called. I let it ring. She tried again an hour later. Then again the next morning. By the 3rd attempt, I blocked the number. Not out of spite, just peace. I didn't need more words. I had all the truth I needed. Laura ran into me at the grocery store a few days later. We made small talk by the oranges. She looked uncomfortable, like someone bracing for a confession she didn't ask for. She's not doing great, Laura finally said. I raised an eyebrow. That's so? She nodded. The guy, Adrian, he left. Said it was a vacation thing. He's already back in California. I didn't react. She thought maybe he'd stick around. Maybe they had something real. They didn't, I said flatly. Laura shifted her weight. She talks about you. A lot. Let her. She says she misses the way you made her feel safe. Seen. That's not love, I said. That's comfort. And you don't cheat on comfort unless you're willing to live without it. Laura looked down. She's living in a rental over on Bridge Street. Said she's thinking about moving away. I nodded. Probably wise. She asked if I'd tell you that she's sorry. She already did. Laura blinked. She did. She texted. I read it. Didn't reply. Laura gave me a sad smile. You know, for what it's worth, she thought you'd always be there. That's the problem, I said. So did I. We parted ways at the checkout. She didn't push any further, and I appreciated that. News traveled, as it always does. People stopped asking me how Carla was. Some of them stopped asking about her altogether. Others just nodded, like they knew without needing to hear the details. Carla, for her part, didn't come back to the house. Not once. She didn't try to fight the divorce. Didn't demand anything in court. When the paperwork came through final, all she asked for was to keep her name on the car title. I let her. It wasn't worth the argument. Martin said he'd never seen someone give up that easily. I told him, she knows she doesn't have a leg to stand on. The truth was, she didn't lose her place in my life because she made a mistake. She lost it because she made a decision, a series of them, with full clarity. And when the consequences showed up, she folded. Her blog went quiet. No more posts about finding herself. No more poems about new beginnings. Just silence. One of her old coworkers, someone I hadn't spoken to in years, emailed me. Said Carla had come into the office to pick up something she'd left behind. She looked hollow, she wrote. Like someone who thought she was walking toward a brighter life and got burned by the sun. I didn't reply. Because there was nothing left to say. She chose that road. She chose the thrill. The secrecy. The fantasy. And like most fantasies, it crumbled the second reality walked in. Now she was sitting in a rental apartment, alone, staring at a phone that wasn't ringing. No more dinners cooked for her. No more steady hand to hold when things went wrong. No more man to fix the broken faucet or surprise her with flowers on a Tuesday. Just her, a suitcase, and a memory of what she gave up. The part that stings, the part one thing she never saw coming, wasn't that I left. It's that I didn't chase her. I didn't fight for her. I didn't scream, or cry, or make some grand gesture to win her back. I just let go. Because when someone walks away from everything good you gave them, you don't drag them back. You let them learn what they lost.